This is a quote that you said recently. It was on one of your Instagram pieces, and it's this. It's my hope that people remember the Great British Swim as an example or an experiment in both mental and physical fortitude. This lost art of grit and determination that we used to have in the golden era of exploration. Hard work is so often the answer. The question is so often irrelevant. That's fucking powerful, dude.
It sounds better in your voice.
That is so powerful.
Right, yeah.
What does that mean, that last sentence?
I got swimming, and when we spoke all that time in February, I didn't realize how much that swimming solitary confinement would affect me. But you are left alone with your own thoughts. Over 157 days, swimming for 12 hours a day, we worked out I spent probably over 20 to 30 days on my own, staring at the bottom of a seabed with earplugs in, so I can't hear anything, I can't smell anything. So you are just purely left alone with your own thoughts. And when we spoke again in February, it was purely a theory at the time. And we spoke about, central governor theory. And I was saying to you, Brian, I believe that fatigue's an emotionally driven state that you use and your brain basically gets you to pull that physiological handbrake, to make sure that you maintain homeostasis. You don't do any damage to yourself, self-preservation mechanisms. And I said, I theorize that you can override this. And you were doing Iron Mind at the time, and I was saying there's going to be that moment during your Ironman, and it's relative. It doesn't matter. You doing your Ironman, me swimming around Great Britain. It doesn't matter. Somebody going to run their first 10-kilometer race. They've never run before. They're going to get to that point where their body says, this is fatigue, pull the physiological handbrake, don't do damage to yourself. So that part at the end where I said, hard work is so often the answer and the question is so often irrelevant. What I meant by that was during the Great British Swim and going back to the central governor theory, swimming became a really small part of it. It was just, are you going to get in, scrape ice off your wetsuit, which I had to Aberdeen. I remember it was the first day of autumn. I left my wetsuit out to dry. It was 2:00 in the morning. The tide had changed. And I put it in, and I was like, and it's just a thin layer of ice. And I scraped it off, and I'm just putting it on like that. And no one was asking me to. I didn't have to get in the water. But if I didn't, that's a 6-hour tide that's gone. That could be 15 miles. And if you miss 15 miles and you add up just a few of those, all of a sudden, the window to actually swim around Great Britain, which is the British summer, which is very, very short. You're thinking kind of May to, and we've been lucky that I finished just yesterday. So, November the 4th, I was lucky that we had a really good summer. Right. Because it would have become impossible. We had Storm Callum and Storm Ali. They came in, and if you're trying to swim around the top of Scotland in a storm, boats don't go around the top of Scotland. Never mind a swimmer.
Really?
So when
the weather.
Yeah, okay. You're not going around Cape Wrath at the top there, so northwest Scotland. You're not going around the top of there if you're getting Arctic winds from Iceland. 50 knots smashing into the side of the west of Scotland. You're not going past there in a boat. You'll be just, people have lost their lives out there, and so. When I say hard work is so often the answer, that the question is irrelevant, what I mean by that is, on the Great British Swim, the limiting factor, the defining factor wasn't how high my elbows were on a swim, how streamlined I was, what was my head position. None of that mattered. But are you going to put your face in the water, and are you going to get in for 6 hours and make 12 miles? Because if you do, you might make it around the top of Scotland before the British winter comes in, and that's it. You can't, literally, the gates are closed. You're now not swimming around Great Britain. Not because you can't and you're fatigued, the British weather's not letting you. So that's what I meant by that it's hard work's the answer, not my leg kick, not my arm position.